Here's something I've struggled to admit out loud. I want money, like real money. And for the longest time, I felt like I couldn't say that or even want that, especially coming from a background in education and nonprofit where the mission is supposed to be helping people, not making money, and certainly not building a real estate portfolio. So if you're new here, hi. My name is Sabrina, and I am failing forward in real estate to build a more durable life. Even while this little voice in the back of my head sometimes keeps telling me that I'm turning into the man. So if you've ever felt guilty for building wealth or feel that you need permission to even want to, this video is for you. So as I mentioned, my whole career background is in education and nonprofit. I was a professor at a small liberal arts college, and now I'm a research associate with a nonprofit. And oftentimes in these groups, whether explicitly or implicitly, more subtly, the idea is pretty, like anti-capitalism, anti-establishment. And so to want to like build wealth or have rentals, at least kind of, I got this indication, rarely directly, but that I was like, becoming the man or somehow a part of the problem. And you add real estate to that, and then you get things like the greedy landlord stereotype. So, I've had people in my family jokingly call me a slumlord when I've certainly never been that. But on one occasion, something that really did hit me, I had a really good friend, another academic friend, who helped me through a really hard time, just a really true dear friend, still a dear friend to this day. But we were catching up because we would see each other maybe once a year or so. And actually, he was there early on when I bought my first property and helped me do some of the yard clean out. If you haven't seen my video on my first 6 years in real estate, you can watch that video and see that yard needed some serious work. And so he was even there for that. And so, a few years go by and we're just kind of checking in at a conference that we would go to every year. And we're, I'm talking about the property and how I'm now renting out both sides and stuff. And to my surprise, he was like, "Oh, so you're one of those landlords who increases the rent on people." I was like, "What?" I mean, sometimes a little bit, I couldn't, it was so shocking to me that someone who had always had my best interest in heart, who always saw me for the person I am, who literally helped me at various times in my career and in my life, so quickly painted me as this bad person because I own a rental and collect rents from a tenant. And so these kinds of comments and ideas really made me feel, or make me feel like I have to quiet that part of me, right? And so while my colleagues are talking about their hobbies and how they spend their time and I do these kinds of competitions, or I'm into pottery or rowing or race cars, and it's this thing that I spend a lot of time and energy and resources and focus working on and trying to get better at, I can't share it. And it feels a bit isolating. It feels conflicted and I'm kind of torn and living this double life. But the thing that we all know is that money is not inherently good or bad. It's a tool, right? And in real estate, having cash flow and raising the rents every so often, it helps you to be able to reinvest, right? It helps you to be able to maintain the properties, improve the properties, which allows you to actually be able to provide safe housing. Or if you're doing something more transactional, like flipping a deal, and you need to get it at a really good price, right? Like you need a deal, because that allows you the breathing room to bring it up to retail value, to offer it to the retail buyer who doesn't have the time, energy, resources for the financing and the contracting and all the things needed to get it to retail condition. And so, like, I know that raising rents incrementally or really hunting for really good deals doesn't make us evil. It just makes our businesses sustainable. But it still leads to this like conflict and kind of, like I said, this feeling of being torn, that I do have to recognize that like is something that comes with the territory, at least for me, and maybe for you too, whether it's in your career or your family life. To be trying to do something different and build something in wealth, and have things that have profit and positive cash flow and things like that. And so I think normally this would be the time that someone would say, okay, so here's the reframe. You don't need to ask, is it okay to want money? You should instead ask, what am I gonna do with that money, right? And really anchored in your values like family and community and building generational wealth. Miss me on all of that. I don't think we should have to reframe it. Just own it. But here's the thing. This is the actual reframe that helped me to at least keep moving forward even while feeling this conflict. Because this is the reframe. Everyone wants more money. All of my colleagues who are complaining that they haven't gotten raises since the 2008 crisis want more money. All of my colleagues who talk about, oh, well, we used to get merit raises, but now revenues are down, and so now we're not going to get them, want more money. And so the issue is not with wanting more money. It's not wanting to build wealth. It's not wanting the things that money can provide you, right? Whether that's security, stability, unique opportunities and experiences, the ability to be generous, like everyone. And so the only difference is that we are going outside of our jobs to try to build something on our own, instead of sitting around waiting and hoping that our employer is going to give it to us. And so that's what I think should be the real reframe. We don't need to act like we don't want the money. We don't need to pretend. We don't need to say, oh, no, I'm truly a good and virtuous person. Listen, everybody wants more money. We're just going out and building it, and trying to have different avenues to doing it instead of just waiting for our employer. So, but if you are waiting for someone to say it, you are allowed to want money. You, person who made it to this part of the video, you lovely individual, because if you did watch to this point, you are lovely and probably good looking. You, viewer, are allowed to want money. You are allowed to want money and all of the things that it can provide: security, stability, generosity, opportunities, experiences. You are allowed to want it. So if you've ever felt like you needed permission, consider this your permission slip. Actually, there's one linked in the description. You don't even need to add your email because I want you to have it. Because here in this space between you and me, you don't have to hide it and you don't have to apologize for it. Wanting to make money does not make you the bad guy. It simply makes you someone who is trying to take control and build the life that you want. And I just want you to know that I see you and I am here with you. Grab your permission slip from the description, print it out, or save it to your computer or your phone. Keep it as a reminder. I'll see you in the next one.